And welcome everybody to the glorious episode of the Put On Waivers podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here, Southern California, 75 degrees and perfect. My partner is James Amato, podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Atlantic Ocean with the cow hat on, representing Berkeley out here. I'm not sure if it's for Jason Kidd or Deshaun Jackson. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who that's for. But James, how you doing today?
It's for the fact that I have a pair of Cal shorts from Champion, and I
Yeah.
just needed a matching hat because
Oh, there you go.
every pair of Champion shorts I have a matching team hat. So to be cool like the kids, I had to
Yeah, you can't cross brand. You gotta, you know what I
I had
mean?
to get a Cal hat. So
Yeah, yeah, no.
and then people think I'm really smart on top of it. So
Exactly.
so,
You go to Cal, you go to Stanford.
yeah,
You're really smart.
exactly.
Our our RTPOW podcast is my Twitter handle, and JR_Amato824 is James's Twitter handle. You can see us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff like that, and it's you can also see us on YouTube as well. 858-429-9465 is the text line. One event that I didn't want to highlight, I told them I would do this. This is not a Raider show, but they are going to have a event in Virginia. The Northern Virginia Raiders Booster Club is going to have East Coast Rally, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, on August 21st, 10 a.m. Celebrating their 10 years and 10-year anniversary. So, like I tell everybody, Raider fans, we have to celebrate each other because we can't celebrate rings. So go have some fun. So go have some fun with some of the Raider fans and celebrate the silver and black. Want to thank everybody listening to us in Vista, California, Albuquerque, New Mexico, East Hartford, Connecticut, Gosforth, England. Anchorage, Alaska, Oakland, California, and then Fredericksburg, Virginia as well. Thank you for listening to the Put On Waivers Podcast MLB show. We're going to talk a little bit about the finals, I think, in both real quick. Before we go to be fair, to go to that. Number one, I mean, listen, we just deal with factual information. We don't do the whole thing that Kyle Hurd and everybody else and all these other folks do. At the end of the day, these teams are pretty damn even. Like, I mean, they really are. And this could be a situation where I think the home team could possibly win every game, and then that would probably mean the Phoenix Suns win the finals. But the other day, James, Chris Broussard and Skip Bayless went on about how boring Chris Middleton is. And I sent a tweet to them yesterday. I was like, we should all be as boring as Chris Middleton. 40 points and a season-saving Game 4.
Yeah. Middleton had an incredible game last night. I was watching, and they were down by 6 late in the game, and I mean the Bucks just look good. I mean I'm pulling for the Bucks in this series. I just think it'd be good for one of these small market teams. Not that Phoenix is a large market to win it, but I'm also turned off by Suns fans. Suns fans do a lot of talking, and they've been all over the internet these playoffs with how they've been acting and whatnot. So that kind of turns you off to them. You think they'd have the team with 18 rings and not the Celtics. So it's pretty funny. But yeah, I think this is a great series. And until the road team wins a game, it's shaping up for the Suns in 7. But I'm enjoying it so far. I like it. I think I think it shows that if the Nets were healthy, they would have won the championship. No questions asked. I think that's how much those injuries impacted them. So I think we need to enjoy this playoff run, and hopefully we, that this could be the end of like that whole big 3 scenario where teams either they can build around with 2 superstars or 2 really good players, one superstar and one very, very, very good player. Like they have in Milwaukee.
So you saw something pretty dramatic in this series is that Budenholzer put Drew Holiday on Chris Paul. That is pretty much that's almost like when they put Gary Payton on Jordan. It changed the series. they should have did it earlier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like should do it earlier. Should do it earlier. He's going to play big minutes anyway, so we'll see what happens as far as that goes.
Yeah,
But
I mean, my biggest fear with this series, this whole postseason, is some team falls too in love with a very old Chris Paul and just throws ridiculous money at him for, maybe one season. If there's a team, and I'm going to say it, the Knicks, who are probably 2 or 3 years away from being a serious contender. And, there's a lot of Knicks fans hyped about bringing Chris Paul to New York. And I'm like, no, he's not that gap. I think he has, one good season left him. I don't think the Knicks are that close to needing it. And I think he's going to stay in Phoenix and take the money there. But I think way too many teams are falling in love with Chris Paul at his age and what he's doing.
Yeah. And I thought that the official who didn't make the call on Devin Booker twice, he had 5 fouls, clearly fouled Drew Holiday, clearly fouled Chris Middleton on that driving left-handed layup to put the Bucks up 4. That crew, the people in that crew who are responsible for that call, should never do a finals game again. Like if you cannot make that call, I mean, he just blatantly, first of all, it's a bonehead play by Devin Booker. You give him the layup in that spot. You can't, cost your team the game by getting fouled out when you have 40 points and you're on fire. But you can't, I mean, you cannot, you have to have, you got away with it once. And then even the second time when, on the Chris Middleton play, they still didn't make the correct call, and foul him out of the game. And I thought that was really just a horrible situation, in my opinion, for the league to that whole star treatment. That's really bad.
Yeah, and I think, and we also we haven't had a chance to talk about it because we haven't been on the air together in a while. But I sent you a text about it. What's the impact of all these days off during the regular season having on these injuries in the postseason? I mean, you go from players who they may be playing 3 games in 2 weeks, to get their rest and their days off, and now they're playing 3 games in 7 days, and I don't think their body's used to that wear and tear. And I'm sorry, you could practice every day, but practice is not the same adrenaline and same atmosphere as playing in a game. So that might be something teams may look at it with all this time off they're giving players, and all of a sudden you get these big injuries in the postseason, and it's impacted the postseason a lot.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is. All I hear is bigger, stronger, faster. I hear that the day and night, and these guys just don't play as long, or they don't play as much. I think you have some players who are just they have that little, maybe that Jordan, that Kobe, that Karl Malone, that that Tim Duncan. I'm going to play every night. And then you have the guys who, the money is just so good, I'll play when I feel like playing.
The amount of recognition players get for, in the postseason for playing 46 minutes, that's,
oh my God,
in one game. I mean, that's what, and again, I know it's a different era, but that's what that's what Bird, that's what Johnson, that's what Abdul-Jabbar, that's what Jordan, that's what the Pistons, that's what they averaged. Their starters 42 to 46 minutes in a game, unless they were in foul trouble. If they were in foul trouble, they were in the game.
That's the price of admission, if you will. Yeah. My goodness. I'll give him all this credit for playing the whole game.
Doing your job.
You played Sunday. And you had Monday, Tuesday off. Probably walkthroughs those days and film days. So it's not like you're sitting there grinding on the court. And I do think one thing that people underestimate is how much wear and tear on your body, jumping up and down on those wood floors does to your body. You can see people walking around with back issues. You ever see Kevin McHale walk? You must want to put him in a wheelchair.
Yeah, his foot injury had a lot to do with that. Playing a season on a broken foot, is a lot with the way he walks too. But it's the NBA Finals. The schedule has not been good in about 20 years. I'd say even 30 years. I think it's once some of those big contracts came in. I think NBC, when they had the NBA Finals, they had a pretty fair schedule where you weren't getting 2 or 3 days off between games.
Did you like the 2-3-2 better?
I remember that change, and I remember the difference it made in the finals. I think it's interesting, and I know one of the reasons too back then why they made that change was the cost of travel. And the not only the teams having to fly, and it wasn't private jets. Don't forget,
Yeah.
Their teams were flying, United and Delta and
Can you
Boeing,
imagine? Can you imagine?
you were getting chartered flights back then, and the cost of personnel. So you see the side of it where it allows teams and media to book hotels and reservations and stuff like that in a much fluid, they're not traveling so much. But no, I will forever be a fan of 2-2-1-1-1 in any series.
Any series. All right. And I'm pulling for. I think we're both pulling for the Bucks. We'll see. We'll see what happens as far as the series goes. I'm just not. Something about Chris Paul. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him raise the trophy. I don't know what it is. I don't know why I do not want to see Chris Paul raise the trophy. So we'll see. Great player for a lot of years. But we'll see what happens as far as that goes. NHL, the Lightning do it again. Any comments on what they did? And this is something that they have been able to kind of just take over the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, they've won the last two Stanley Cups, and both really different situations, especially in the playoffs. In a normal season, they wouldn't be able to play Montreal in the finals, but they're a heck of a team. Yeah. And for their goaltender to come out after not winning the Vezina and to throw a shutout that night was just crazy. If you're not familiar with the whole maneuvering of the salary cap, their best player was on injured reserve all year. He spent 365 days on the injured reserve, and so he was eligible to come back. I think it was like a week before the playoffs, and he doesn't count as a cap hit. So technically, the Tampa Bay was $8 to $10 million over the cap. But it's in the contract, so the players agreed upon that, and ownership agreed upon that. So they had a great series against the Islanders. The Islanders are really close. It's going to be a crazy NHL offseason. We have the Seattle Kraken coming in.
Yeah.
So we have that draft coming up. There's going to be a lot of buyouts. Already today, Zach Parise was bought out by the Wild. Him and Suter, who both signed those 13-year contracts 9 years ago, back in 2012, were bought out today or about to be bought out, which is, the Islanders tried to get Priest before the trade deadline. So I think he's a signed deal to go play for his dad's team, which should be fun for Ranger fans. But yeah, it was a good Stanley Cup Finals. But again, the way it was set up, and Montreal was just not ready or at the level of Tampa Bay. And if it had been a regular season, then we wouldn't have seen Montreal in the finals. But good for them, because the one thing that's been holding Carey Price back is being considered a Hall of Fame goalie is that he never took a team to the finals. Or at least it was his never won a cup. At least he got a team to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been a solid goaltender in his whole career, and just came up against some bad luck. I mean, he came up against Henrik Lundqvist when Lundqvist was at his best, and just couldn't get past the Rangers a few times.
Yeah, interesting. So, I mean, it should be good to see that we're crowning champions again and seeing people in the stands. So hopefully that continues. Although, of course, the Yankees and Red Sox got canceled because of COVID today. COVID restrictions.
Which I don't think it's fair that the game got canceled, since it was just the Yankees who had COVID. Why are the Red Sox getting penalized, being forced to play?
I mean, I'm thinking that at this point, man, it might be time to just give losses, or something. I mean, like, if they want to take it to that level. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. Like, I don't think the Red Sox should get canceled. If the Red Sox have all the ducks in order, I don't think they should get punished at all. So
just call players up. I mean, are you going to cancel the Yankees next 14 games for the 14-day or 10-day, thing that they're doing now to keep players safe or whatnot? So I just don't think the Red Sox should have been penalized.
Yeah. So this is you know when you're a little kid and you get in trouble, that happens. Like you've joined a big focused conversation and you said a little bit too much. That's how I feel like with Stephen A. and Otani, if you will. So number one, on the show First Take, he and Max Kellerman, and this is from a baseball fan's perspective, they are not qualified to talk about baseball, period. Like they just are not. The only sport that Max Kellerman is qualified to talk about is boxing and MMA. For Stephen A, it's basketball. I mean, that's pretty much it. When you, as far as his football knowledge goes, when you say, hey, I don't know why this team didn't kick the field goal on third down, because if they missed it, they can come back on fourth down, then you don't need to be talking football at all. As far as the baseball part of it goes with Otani, at the end of the day, the reason why he really can't, the argument for him not being the face of the game is because the Angels aren't a playoff team. That's the argument. Like, you know what I mean? Not because he has an interpreter, because he doesn't
No, they have two players who should be the face of the game
on the same team.
Exactly.
and the reason why they're not, and the reason why I think Fernando Tatis really is because that team is most likely at the very least going to make a wild card. Or if they're 5 games behind the Giants fall back or whatever. The Padres should make, it would be a huge upset if the Padres didn't make the playoffs. But they're winning. They're playing exciting games. They just swept the Dodgers in what was like, I mean, I can't tell you the frenzy in San Diego down here where people were going nuts because they swept the Dodgers in that series. I don't know what your thoughts about it, but like, I mean, like, it's just like you're talking about stuff you don't know anything about. Like, I get you're the highest paid employee at ESPN. I understand all that stuff, but you don't know baseball. So to talk about baseball, you know, get an assistant or something, because you don't talk, you have no idea what the hell you're talking about when it comes to the sport of baseball.
Yeah, every once in a while, the Rangers would make like a really good playoff run, you know, and Francesa knew how to talk hockey only when the Rangers were making playoff runs and fans were listening.
Yep.
And he you know, someone who couldn't talk hockey all year long suddenly talked hockey like he watched every single game, every single moment. So the bottom line was there was interns feeding Francesca information on hockey so he could talk about players and he could talk about, you know, line changes and different coaches and players on other teams. So and that's what Stephen A says. Now, that being said, and I don't want to start anything else off here, and I don't want to be, you know, anything off the record or anything, but there are a lot of people in the media who would have been suspended and or lost their jobs if they made the comments in today's society that Stephen A. Smith made. And that's, you know, I don't think there's, and I don't believe in cancel culture, so I don't believe he should lose his job or anything like that. But that's really how insulting his words were. Like,
he should be suspended, no question.
Yes, he should be suspended. I'm not saying he should be canceled. I don't believe in cancel culture. Trust me, I don't believe in it. I believe everyone gets an opportunity. However, I think there's a lot of people, and not even in the sports world. I think in you know, on CNN and the news media, you know, if they made a comment like that, insulting someone for not speaking English, they would find themselves at least suspended. So, yeah, there's you know, there's no recovering from that. You know, he did his apologies. He was trying to make sense, but you know, it's we see it in so many other sports. You know, Yao Ming.
I was
for years. That. You know, that's
how
his sport, basketball.
How popular was Yao Ming when he came to the NBA?
Yeah.
I mean, God.
You know, Yao Ming got billions of All-Star votes because of how popular he was in China, and you know, and what he did for the sport over there, and how he brought it here and whatnot. And you know, and don't forget Ichiro. You know, there's Ichiro is one of my all-time favorite players. Like he's one of my top 10 players to watch, and I just enjoyed the way he played the game. And yeah, people knew Ichiro would speak English, but he wasn't comfortable speaking English to the media, especially when you're getting all those.
He's speaking to millions of people, so I understand it. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, come
what
on.
he's doing, what he's doing on the field is what's speaking for him.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is he's had teammates that, yeah, he can speak English to us, but he's just not comfortable speaking in front of the media. And you know how the media can get when they're throwing all those questions at you and you're not paying attention. So that's what the whole interpreter does. It kind of slows down those interviews. But Stephen A. Smith was, stay in your lane, Stephen A. Smith.
Stay in your lane. And your lane, you're barely in that lane, so just stay in that lane. I mean, do you know any Spanish at all, James?
A little bit, a very little, like enough, right? To
order a drink,
order a drink, or when I get really tan during the summer, to tell people I'm not Spanish.
You're not Spanish, right? I don't speak Spanish, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like, to me, it's the same kind of thing. Like, I know a little bit of Spanish. I don't know enough to like go on to have a full conversation, but I know like how to just, because obviously a large contingent of Spanish speaking Americans in California. I know how to, excuse me, stuff, you know what I mean? How you doing? Goodbye, hey, whatever. I know that part, but I don't know. Give me 1 second. I don't know enough to really do anything else as far as that goes. So that's all. That's what I. So I understand where Ichiro and Otani are coming from as well.
I can't think of the player, but there was a player a few years ago. Maybe within like the past 5, 6, or 7 years, he came from the Dominican Republic, and he said from the time he was 5 he wanted to learn English because he knew he wanted to play Major League Baseball. And I need to look up who it was, but there was a player who at a young age knew he wanted to play the major leagues in the US, so he learned how to speak English. And again, it's nothing against Ichiro or Otani, but it's the culture you grew up in and what you're most comfortable in. But this was someone who not only practiced baseball every day, but he's like, hey, I want to have meaningful conversations in the US, especially with kids who come to the games.
Yeah. So I mean, I think what we should be doing is celebrating what the amazing accomplishments of what Otani's been doing. I mean, he's hitting balls. I mean, I know the ball travels in Colorado, but he was hitting balls that were basically out of the stadium, like in batting practice and in the home run derby. He plays with a smile. Like he plays, it's fun to watch him. And him on the mound as well is a special thing. Because he can do that. Almost as well as he hits. So just have fun with it and just like stay in your lane as far as that goes. The latest, another I don't want to call it sabbatical, but another 7-day leave has been issued for Trevor Bauer in this whole situation with Bauer. I have not, I've been trying to keep up with it as far as that goes. The Dodgers haven't really lost too much of a beat, but more importantly, if this goes haywire, I mean, they paid him a lot of money. Maybe they can get some of that money back. If it does go south. What are your thoughts about this whole? I mean, it seems like we're getting hit with a lot of between Sherman and Bauer. It's a bunch of stuff coming out right now. What are your thoughts about what the Bauer situation?
Yeah, I mean the Bauer one right now is not good. There's a lot of silence. There's a lot of silence,
which is never good.
It's not good. And then there's nothing leaking out. And again, the early indications, from Bauer and his camp was he has text messages and other messages from this woman that, that she wanted to be treated this way. We I want to go back to Antonio Brown, and I think that was one of the things, when I sent you the message 2 weeks ago. When after Brown signed with the Patriots, the woman came out and said that Brown attacked her, and then it led to the Patriots releasing him.
Mm-hmm.
And then that never made it back to court again. There was never a settlement. The charges were quietly dismissed. And again, I'm not saying it's a money grab for this woman either, but we have to see both sides, of what's going on, and B, it's just the silence is so deafening.
Yeah.
It's not good for either side. So either Bauer's putting together that dream team, looking into everything, getting text messages, digging deep into this person's background.
If he's pulling if he's pulling together a dream team, that's definitely not good.
It's not good, but if he's hiring people to investigate, and proof of what's going on, the only other thing is, and we know about his background, with how he talked to females on Twitter and other social media. There's no one else coming out. This isn't like Deshaun Watson. That's the other thing. Deshaun Watson had the one accuser, and within weeks there were other accusers, and nothing else has come out from anyone else on Bauer. So I think we just have to let both sides do their investigation and come up with it. But right now, again, because the silence is so deafening, it doesn't look good for Bauer. Is how I'm seeing it. And obviously there's clauses in contracts where
you can get out of it,
where they can get out of the contract and everything, but the Dodgers haven't really, they really haven't skipped a beat, like you said. So